Hello and welcome to Learn IT with Mr. P, My Digital Journey, Part 3. Well, loyal viewers will remember that Part 1 dealt with the time that I was a youth until the time I left high school. Part 2 was my college experience, where I first got exposed to real computer programming and real computer science and some of the technical issues that made me really excited about being in computers. Well, as I mentioned before, in the mid 1980s, I'd left graduate school short of graduation, and I said, I want to get a job in the computer field. And a few miles from my parents' house was a Heathkit store, but at this time became known as Heath Zenith Data Systems or Heath Zenith. Zenith was known as one of America's greatest TV brands. They made electronics for the home. Heathkit had been a company around for many years, had been known for making electronics that you could build yourself. Stereo equipment, televisions, test equipment, ham radios, really a whole selection of different devices that you can build for your home. And it was always known for very high quality, very innovative, cutting edge stuff. Zenith looked upon the Heathkit company as having great manufacturing, which was true, and really innovative products. Heathkit was also one of the very first vendors to sell people computers. The catalog on the top right of this image shows a man putting together an H8 computers, one of the first home built computers you could ever get. On the lower left is an H89, I believe, which was an all in one computer. Again, very popular. But the Heathkit store also was appealing because it had stores all around the country. So Zenith was able to sell their computers in stores all around the country. Now, back in the day, buying a computer was much like buying a car was. You wouldn't go to ask anybody. There was no internet to order anything over, no World Wide Web. There were some computer magazines which had ads in the back. You could make an 800 call or whatever, pay a phone call. But if you really wanted to get a computer, like buying a car, you had to go to a store. And the Heathkit store was the first place that I worked. And what the best part about this is that they paid for me to get trained. So in the upper left-hand side, you see these floppy disks, 5.25-inch floppy disks. This is NetWare. Well, Novell NetWare was the preeminent solution for people who want to make a network in their office or their business. And you wouldn't have to buy a proprietary, expensive solution from a Hewlett Packard or a Wang or IBM or some other vendor like DEC or Digital Equipment Corporation. So you can get an off-the-shelf generic computer from any manufacturer and then put the software on it, and there you had a server for your office. The top right is what the Novell Network console looked like. It's all text-based. There was no graphical user interface. Most computers at the time, except the Mac, did not have a graphical user interface. They had a text base. You had to type the commands in. So we sold. I was learned how to sell and maintain and repair these systems with Novell NetWare. I think it was 3 weeks of classes and exams that I took, and I got a CNE badge and literally a picture ID that said Certified Network Engineer, and I was able to get technical support for customers' problems. On the lower left, I got trained by an Apple people on how to use HyperCard. Well, again, this is before the internet with the World Wide Web with hyperlinks, but HyperCard was allowed you to do some scripting and build some applications on your Macintosh computer. It's a very innovative, cutting edge technology at the time. In the picture in the middle, these are AppleTalk connectors. Again, a Macintosh Apple innovation was to provide their computers with built-in networking capabilities. So I went to Apple Networking School. Virtually none of the Windows or pre-Windows compatible computers had networking capabilities built in. You had to get a card. But the Macintosh from some of the earlier versions of the Apple Macintosh had built-in networking capability. So I learned about Apple networking, I learned about Novell networking, and on the lower right-hand side is Hewlett Packard LaserJet printer, the HP LaserJet 2, one of the very most famous workhorse printers of the age. So I learned how to fix and repair HP laser jets. And I remember when I came in there, they asked me what I did about electrostatic dissipation, ESD. And I said, oh, we have an anti-static mat, everything else. So we had to learn about how to maintain and service all kinds of different Apple computers, the Zenith computers, and also Hewlett Packard. And we had some other things we had to learn how to be trained. But I was trained, I became a systems engineer at the store. Excellent opportunity. I moved though. I met my wife. I moved from New York to Boston. So here is the top left-hand corner picture of my wife Lisa and I with our engagement cookie. I figured I'd go with some sports pictures here. Because we're big sports fans in this family. The picture in the middle right, top middle, is me in my classroom. One of my students made a portrait of me wearing a New York Yankee hat because I am a Yankee fan, born and raised in the Bronx. Got to be a Yankee fan. Upper right hand corner is myself and Marty, my son Marty, at a Celtics game. We're ticket holders for Celtics for over 25 years. Lower left is my wife, Marty, and myself at the Celtics offices, and that's our New Year's card with a secret message of 2009. We also go to Bruins games, and in the middle picture on the bottom, the three of us are with Tuukka Rask and another player. My son is wearing a Finland hockey jersey. Now, Tuukka is from Finland, and he actually won the bronze medal as the goalkeeper, and he's on the Stanley Cup winning team as well. And the lower right-hand corner is Lisa and myself at a Bruins game. So I go from New York to Boston. So what am I going to do? I got to find a job. I didn't have a job when I came here, so I met with a headhunter, an employment agency. I gave them my resume on a Monday. Day 2, I took a ride up Route 1 and walked right into a computer store, Microwave of Wakefield. And here's my resume. And they can see on this resume that I had experience working and servicing computers. I had my certified network, my CNE badge. I also had my Apple networking certifications. And they were like, wow, we really want to get you. So they hired me basically on the spot. So 2 days in Boston, I had a job. And the microwave store sold all types of computers, not just one brand. Like I was just working with the Zenith computers. Here they had IBM, Epson, Compaq, AST, of course, Apple computers. And what was great about working in a retail environment, and this is part of informed my work going forward as both by students and also at PC Week, is that you're going to see lots of different people using computers in lots of different ways. So law firms, medical firms, publishing firms, manufacturing firms, concrete manufacturing places, shipping firms, and every place you went to had a different problem and you had to install a different solution. And that was very great for learning because, again, anything that came through that I had to fix, I had to learn about it. And I was one of the people who did that at this place. So I built and fixed a lot of computers. So the headhunter called me up. I'm working at Microwave for about 10 or 11 months. And out of the blue, I get a phone call from the headhunter. Hey, are you interested in a job at PC Week, which is the world's largest newspaper about computers? Hell yeah, I was. But that's going to be the next video. So again, thank you for listening to this video. I hope you like and subscribe. If you also, please ask questions and comments. I'd love to continue this conversation with you. So again, thank you for turning into Learning IT with Mr. P.